SG.
Activating WEFM 99.9 is on now.
Welcome back to Investment and the Grenadines. The time is 9:25 and it is time for our Talk to Me segment this morning here on WEFM 99.9. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Ari. With me is Roleza, and we are activated mornings this morning. Now the number to call is 457-9997. Also the number to WhatsApp 457-9997, where you can also place calls. We're also live on YouTube and Facebook at WEFM 99 SVG.
All right, and just before we get into the next segment, the song that we played just before entering this portion was from Wizkid, Abandon, and I played the song right down to the end because of that little bit of violin that we were hearing at the end. I just thought that I love to hear when I hear, let's say, the non-traditional type of instruments incorporated into soca songs, right? Because normally we would typically hear drums, we would hear the pan, we would hear guitars, but in this one, the violin was introduced into this song. So I just love it. So I'm hoping that many more DJs would play at least right down to the end so that we could get that little bit of extra information. Extra musical song.
Of course, I'd just like to remind everyone that the Searchlight Midweek is online. And here are the headlines. Top 3 CPA students reveal secrets to their success as they look forward to start secondary school. Don't presume on Goddess of Vinci, this hurricane season, officials warn. Parkhill Government School receives donation from Kim Gonzalez, Vincent and St. Lucia charged jointly for drugs and ammo possession. David Julian Pilling Pollard to be buried this Wednesday gets copyright licenses ahead of Vincima, says music rights group. Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court unveils round 2 of e-litigation portal. Prime the Pump discusses recognize the importance of your employees, and Annesville Sporting Ground continues to receive high remarks. Searchlight journalism you can trust. Check us out online or at check us out online at for your news.
All right, and just a reminder as well, get ready for Touch on the Water, the ultimate all-inclusive catamaran cruise for the season, which takes place on Friday, July 5th. Come jam to the band Touch in live performance mode with all your favorite hits. And the price for this all-inclusive event is $300. All right? All right. So we are opening the phone lines. If anybody has anything that they wish to discuss, this is our Talk to Me segment where you are free to raise any questions or comments or anything that you wish generally to share with us or our listening audience. The number to call is 457-9997. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube. All right. So I'm doing a mental countdown and we have someone.
Okay, I'll call.
All right. Okay. So caller, you can call back now before we jump into something else. All right. All right. So Aria, I didn't ask you, how was your trip to Grenada?
It was quite nice. I went to the Carnage. That they kept talking about it. I went to the Carnage. It was quite beautiful.
It was your first time to Grenada? Or
No, it was my first. That was the first time going to the Carnage, and it was nice. And the program was very informative.
What program was it?
It was a journalistic training on youth involvement and on crime and human trafficking.
Okay.
And you know, I was saying it privately, but I'm saying it publicly. There was a media host I was invited that I think that journalism is very poor, that would have benefited from it, and they pulled out last minute. I do hope that they don't do that again. I do hope that they don't do that again. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if it's not personal or not, but I do hope that they take the opportunity to benefit from these training because it was very, very informative.
It was free-ish?
What do you mean?
In terms of, was it sponsored?
Oh yes, it was sponsored by UNDP, Carry Secure, and USAID.
Okay.
And I do believe that programs like these do help to improve the quality of journalism that we have, and it shed light on a lot of things that we're missing here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I personally enjoyed it because you ever like be around your colleagues or people in a similar field and you're having discussions, you realize, hey, I'm smart enough. That's what I felt.
Or you were smarter than the rest of them, or you felt
I know, I know.
like-minded?
You're
Like-minded.
like-minded. I
Okay.
didn't feel it as I'm above any of them. I just
Okay.
felt like-minded.
Okay.
All right, caller, you're live.
Yes, and you did Grand Dance. Didn't get a chance to go to Grand Dance.
It was on Grand Anse. Yes, I was at the Radisson.
Oh yeah. I know over there, right across the street. There's
Yes,
still there, a Grand Dance
where the
mall,
PM and
the supermarket.
former PM Mitchell took the famous walk.
Oh, that's what. That's the beach you're talking about. I'm talking about the
The
mall.
area.
Right
Oh, yes,
across
I
the
went
street.
up to the mall. Yes, I walked up to the mall.
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
I saw that mall is around the corner too. They have a
Yes,
KFC drive-through.
I actually
Queens, if
did
it's
not see
one
the
thing,
Some
it's
KFC.
food court.
Queens, if it's one thing, you seem to be very well traveled, though.
Yeah.
That's
And I think
good.
they had like 4 banks there. I don't know if they had the same 4 banks in that area.
Well, I was
Grand
mostly
Dance,
seeing
yes,
Republic.
Republic Bank.
hmm
That FICB Bank. That like 4 banks for Scotia Bank too.
I
Right
remember,
across from the mall.
Republic took over Scotia, so I guess that's why I saw so much
Okay.
Republic. Yeah.
I went over there and bought high room there over there by that market across the street from Madison.
Okay.
And then the police station is in the back. And I could have go to the police station and get a temporary driver's license. I didn't have to go to the nearby Maurice Bishop Airport or down to St. George. So I really like Van Van. It's really impressive. And you got 2 lanes of traffic coming from the airport into before you get to the roundabout there. We don't 2 lanes. We don't have 2 lanes in St. Vincent. 2 lanes in this direction coming from Maurice Bishop International Airport to the roundabout. It's impressive. And you know what impressive with Grenada, the student that they have, the St. George's University, that helped to really good economy. I think they had like at last count I know what they had like 6,000 students some years back before the pandemic.
Okay.
Really Grenada's nice. Grenada's nice. All right. Good
All right.
morning. All
All
right.
right. Take
All
care.
right. Thank you,
All right.
Queens.
I think one of the interesting things with me and Grenada is where the capital is. It's on a hill.
Yeah.
I
I
legit
refuse
could
to
not.
refuse to go up that
Yeah,
hill.
no, I legit. I kept trying to figure out why would they even do this or even consider. I mean, I guess there's probably a historical reason behind it as well. But I
Yeah.
just find it was actually ridiculous, and yeah, I could understand why people refuse to go into the capital or to that part of it to do business. You know, it's ridiculous. But
It's definitely rich in culture
Mhm.
and history for sure. But I was not doing that. I
But when I went,
refuse.
I didn't have a choice. You know, I didn't have a choice. But yeah, Grenada is one of those countries that I only went for a very short time, but it is one of those countries that I say I really, really need to go back. And I suppose, you know, in the same vein, I was commenting on Queen because Queen is always talking about some other Caribbean country or some other part of the world, you know, and I think this is one of the things in terms of when we live lives, you know, when you can, if you can, you know, so just get up and go. Grenada's just right there, and you know, you really shouldn't have to take me too long to go back. You know, to places like Grenada. I've never been to St. Lucia, but you know, just the whole grand scheme of things for us in the Caribbean to be able to explore our neighbors to the north, south, east, and we haven't into the west, no, not really. East. To the east. Right.
So, Roleza, how prepared are we for natural disasters?
All right, so I'm throwing that question out, right? Because we are now into the hurricane season, and I came across a piece on it was on Ask What News Network. So they asked the question, or the writer asked, do we take hurricanes and storms seriously in SVG? Right? And I even have to extend this to earthquakes and other natural disasters, because when we had that earthquake on Saturday, right, I was sitting at the edge of the bed and I'm feeling the movements, and I'm there like, is this going to end? Right? But the thing of it is that I'm sitting there and I made absolutely no movements. I guess because the reason why I didn't make a movement is because I was expecting that it was going to end shortly. right? But had it not ended shortly, number one, I could not have run outside because of what it is that I had on, right? And I did not make any sort of plans, or I didn't make any sort of movements in the case, in the event that the tremors got more severe or more intense for me to actually leave. And one of the things is that, as I noticed in one of the headlines for something that is a contribution, I suppose, to the searchlight this week, is that many of us say God is of intention, and because God is of intention, we generally don't suffer from too many natural disasters in a sense where it is severely impacting. Right now, I know that there are places within SVG, especially to the northern end, that they do suffer from a lot of damage or destruction in a sense when it comes to especially a lot of rains. And as I mentioned this morning, I was a lover of rain falling, like significant amounts of rain falling before the 2013 floods, right? Because now I get a little bit of a panic, more so in relation to what it may do to other parts of the country. And from that standpoint, I wonder, even within our homes, and I spoke about it before, even within our homes, let's say if something had to happen last night or tonight, do I have enough food to last me at least for a couple of days? I don't, right? I have to go and get groceries. I don't. Even something like power packs. I was looking at a YouTube video last night of a young lady who lives in her vehicle, right? Because she can't afford housing. It's in the States. And she brought out this power pack that she uses to charge her devices, a big power pack. And I'm there like, I didn't even know about this thing. I know about these small charging devices. And then I went on Amazon and I found that there are solar powered power packs. So even in that context, now I have to add one to my cart or one to my wish list because of the fact that if electricity goes, what is there to power my devices? I have nothing at this point in time. So it made me stop and think, do we actually take them seriously, the threats of natural disasters seriously from an individual household standpoint? And what do we do when something actually happens? And in my case, I'm talking about the trauma that we felt on Saturday, where I just sat there, right? I just sat there just waiting for it to end, as opposed to if I need to hurry outside, I did not make any movements at all.
I think a lot of people are prepared in terms of they have their radios. I think like basic hospitality, I would say that persons would have extra water just in case visitors pop up and they need to serve them and stuff like that. But in terms of like solar powered charging pack, I don't think people would have those things. That makes me wonder if we should be more prepared in that sense. Because I got used to earthquakes in Taiwan. Where an earthquake happened, like, okay, cool, Tuesday. But think about it for Vincentians who have not experienced that. That probably was a terrifying thing to experience on Saturday. Saturday was right.
Yeah, Saturday.
People don't know how exactly to deal with a situation like that. People don't know to leave their homes or get to the lower floors or
actually go outside in an area that is open.
Yeah.
In case of falling anything,
get
that
on
you would
a
not.
table
Right.
or something. But I was really disappointed to see how we have a call coming. I was disappointed to see how Nemo, I think it was, and NBC posted, but that's a different conversation. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ari, the great one, and Roleza. I am surprised that she don't know about solar chargers.
Yeah, I know about solar lights. I know about the solar thing,
Yeah,
but I didn't know about the solar chargers.
What? Listen, I got a friend in Carry Mountain in Camden Park, and for years I supplied with one of those things to charge his phone, etc. And I replenished it about 2 years ago. I sent him a new one, and he lived in the mountain, and that's how we charge his system. So I'm amazed. And you're talking going back over 10 years ago. I supplied that thing to him, and I replenished it about a year ago. So I mean, I think you can never ever really be prepared for disaster, but I think St. Vincent is pretty much up there. I mean, right now they have a lot of places that they have stuff that is stored. Like I know in Camden Park, in the I think the community center, and they have like the church I used to go there, the Wesleyan Church. I think that they want a shelter in case of disaster. And I mean, going back many years ago, they never had that. Probably had one. I don't think they even had Nemo going back 20 years or 30 or something like that. But now they have shelters all around the country. So I think, it will help. It will help. But I mean, more can be done. But there's a lot of things out there, you can do. You can have portable generators so that you can use. But yeah, those solar power the charge cell phone, etc. Been out there for many years. Many years.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Continue to listen.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning, Roleza. Do not run outside when earthquake. You don't know how the earth is moving outside. Do not run outside. Stand up between under your door frame, stand up under it, or table or something like that. Do not run outside because you do not know how the earth is moving. I live in an earthquake city, an earthquake town. We get them almost daily. Do not run outside because you do not know what is moving outside.
You see, this is interesting because this is interesting.
Once your house is not breaking down, please just go between, wherever the door frame, the door frame, because that is a very strong point in your house.
Okay.
If you have a strong table, not those flimsy table, a very strong table that could take things that fall down, you could save yourself. Don't go outside because you don't know how the earth is moving.
Okay,
which
is a fair point, but I remember when I was in Trinidad, because I experienced a lot of earthquakes in Trinidad, earth movements in Trinidad, and that was one of the things that they advocated because on campus there are lots of open spaces. So one of the things, and I tell you, I feeling an earthquake in Trinidad, I feel something significantly different, right? I always used to ask the question, what is the soil makeup of Trinidad? Because you felt everything, right? But that was one of the things that they suggested is that we go outside, but in an open space. So
yeah, but you see that's what I'm saying. If you're going going outside and there's some concrete that might not be moving, but even that still is not secure,
Yeah.
Because if the earth is moving, it's not the air moving, it's the earth. So why do you want to run outside and stand up on something that is not secure?
Yeah.
So secure yourself inside first,
All right.
That's how I learned it here. So
okay.
I mean, I hope that helps.
All right, fair enough. What I would do is that I would actually go and do a bit more research on it in terms of what would be the better approaches. And I suppose even in us having this conversation as well, it's probably needed because yes, we know to a great extent in terms of how to prepare for hurricanes. But do we know how to prepare or what to do in the cases in terms of the education being out there when it comes to earthquakes?
Kodra is right. You're not the last thing you should do is go outside.
All right. So I think I would look it up for myself just to have it cemented in my mind. But I thank you for that contribution, Coach.
All right.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so while this is better, yes, I am discovering about these power packs. Even some things like, and I think one of the things that we probably try to need to invest in a lot of is whatever devices or whatever it is that we can get that is solar powered, right? Because we do have an ample supply of sunlight down here generally, and when it's not even just so much in the case of a natural disaster, but to help to conserve on electricity or the usage of electricity. So I think from my end, a bit more needs to be done in terms of us actually taking advisory seriously in terms of now being the hurricane season to know in the event of something happening, where do you go? Which shelters are there in your community? What should you have stored? Yes, we would have gone through the volcanic eruptions. We would have gone through other natural disasters, or even recently when we had the water shortages. So many of us at this point should have water stored up because at least a few days supply of water, or maybe a day or two of water stored up in the event of something happening. But it's a bit more than that. To get your devices charged. Do you have enough food? How long is the food going to last? Is it perishable, non-perishable? All that sort of stuff. So we need to at least take it seriously. We are not calling anything, but we do know that with climate change, there is going to be more intensity happening in terms of climatic conditions happening around the world. So it's just for us to be mindful and to be prepared just in case.
All right, so the time is 9:45 this morning. This is where we bring an end to this segment. And